mainly due to being in constant pain. They don't have a constant supply of cannabis, and that terrible feeling of hopelessness and despair at their lives. Almost all the women I've got to know have been victims of either one or more instances of sexual, emotional, or physical abuse as children, and as adults, they're suffering many diseases of the autoimmune system, disorders of the nervous system. Collectively, these people are probably the most vulnerable, desperately lonely, alone and unsupported people I have ever met. Some are working with the greatest of difficulty, and their work is often disrupted due to their ill health, but most are on invalids benefits and ACC and live alone. They're the most vulnerable people I've ever met, but they're also some of the best people I've ever met. They're deeply moral, compassionate, humble and kind. These are people who have tried everything their doctor has offered them, but who know that it's cannabis that helps them get out of bed and lead functional lives by relieving their pain, their seizures, their sleep disorder, their PTSD, and without the permanent nasty side effects of the pharmaceuticals that they've tried. As well as that, cannabis helps them to forget. For forgetting is a surprising but factual function of the endocannabinoid system, as discovered in 1988, and for which cannabis offers supplementary cannabinoids to stimulate our cannabinoid receptors when our own bodies fail to produce its own. As I said earlier, it was in 1964 that the Israeli scientists at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem discovered and isolated THC and the other cannabinoids in the plant cannabis, and found these to possess certain medicinal qualities. More than 60 different cannabinoids and over 400 active components have been identified in samples of cannabis. Later, in 1988, the endocannabinoid system was discovered in humans, including its two cannabinoid receptors, CB1, governing human mental health, and CB2, governing human physical health.
You can wind it up, perhaps? I mean, sorry, I don't want to hurry you, but yeah, you can. We have got a lot more to do today. I'm sorry, Rosie. I know you've done a huge amount of work there. For that.
Okay,
but I would like to give an opportunity for questions. Have we got some questions that people would like to ask? Because I don't want to. Yeah, I'd just like to. Yeah,
can I just say that
I'd like the lady to just continue a little bit longer. I think it's almost more important than our questions at the moment.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice.
Words of encouragement there. Go on, Rosie.
Now I've lost my place. Oh yeah. Although humans are capable of creating their own endocannabinoids, it's understood that in some humans, and in fact due to our modern diet it's many, this process in their bodies are deficient in cannabinoids and the receptors are malfunctioning, and it's cannabis that can provide cannabinoids as a dietary supplement or to stimulate the human body to create its own health. To create its own endocannabinoids again and relieve its failing human health. The four physiological processes of the endocannabinoid system that are pertinent to all our Green Cross members include appetite, pain sensation, mood, and memory. So spurred on by the reading of all the many thousands of scientific studies about cannabis and its incredible dietary benefits for humans, including cannabinoids, Billy and I set about with the enormous determination to find a way forward that would not require a change to the law, since people have been begging the government for this for 30 years without any success. Many different cannabinoids are found in the leaves of the cannabis plant. In fact, the cannabinoids are created in the leaves and migrate to the flowers. And it's possible that the law relating to dietary supplements could have been applied so as to offer cannabis as a dietary supplement, provided that there were no therapeutic claims made of the product, and that the cannabinoids listed as prescription medicines were not contained in the leaf product. In 2012, THC and CBD were amended to the medicines regulations and included as prescription medicines. So the dietary supplement, if we were going to have cannabis as a dietary supplement, we could not use it if it had THC or CBD. However, in its raw form, the leaves, you could argue, with arguing, that THC-A and CBD-A were in this dietary supplement and not THC or CBD. On that basis, we could attempt to pursue it. That's one. It's not the main thing it's not the main thing that we're trying to do, though. Now, I'm trying to shoot through this. It's now getting really illogical, but you know that under the New Zealand law, should any of our sick and dying Green Cross patients be discovered using cannabis, because the government doesn't recognise it as a medicine, although, as I've just said, it does recognise THC and CBD, the constituents of cannabis, as a medicine, that's legal, and a prescription medicine, so here we have another complete farce. It would mean that the cannabis charge could bring these patients either up to 10 to 14 years imprisonment for dealing in a Class C or Class B offence respectively, or a 6-month period of incarceration plus up to $500 in fines for possession or use, Class B. This is what these sick people must risk in order to pursue their rights to life, health and self-determination. And this only after they've already been treated like criminals by the police, received little respect from their lawyers, and suffered the additional stress and costs of court proceedings on top of their pre-existing illnesses, pain and despair. In less than 1 year that I've been working for Green Cross, 3 extremely ill Green Cross members have been dragged through the court system and experienced all this. And there have been 2 other cases I've read about in the newspaper recently. So Green Cross has now initiated a policy where any Green Cross patient who faces cannabis charges will receive assistance in the form of a standard letter to the patient's lawyer explaining the political history of cannabis, which includes quotes from the Canadian case R.V. Parker, where the judges very forcefully criticised the government for its racist, ignorant and unconstitutional, unjust laws, using those words. This case was responsible for initiating Canada's current medicinal laws and system. This first letter is then quickly followed up with a phone call, usually from me, about why the patient's medical condition would benefit from medicinal cannabis, and then the lawyer is emailed with some scientific studies from reputable journals to provide supporting evidence for the benefits of cannabis to his or her particular medical condition and justifying the patient's use of cannabis as a medicine. This information is only valid for the sentencing, however, in a non-jury trial. But the patients have reported that they have received better respect and better treatment, better motivation from the lawyer once he or she has been educated in this way. And that is important. It's important because we're further educating a relevant profession who are actively involved in the law itself and who talk amongst each other. I should acknowledge that the first cannabis charges laid since I joined Green Cross were in respect of a man with severe brain injuries as a result of being violently and unexpectedly attacked as a young man. And that court case was in Dunedin. And it was Julian Crawford and Jeff Nola who did amazingly well at attending the consultations with this man's lawyer and educating that lawyer. And it was that began our policy of setting out from then on to deal with lawyers individually, case by case, to educate them and hopefully flow on to educate other lawyers. Acting for Billy McKee at the Court of Appeal, I learned that the judges did not seem to have any sympathy for our attempts to use the court as a platform to interpret the law in accordance with human rights, to legitimise the growing or supply of medicinal cannabis, to make the accepted exemption for prosecution for its user logical. In addition, the rights to life, liberty, self-determination, health raised in our appeal submissions were entirely ignored in the Court of Appeal judgment and dismissed with the claim that our interpretation was not the intention of Parliament. Given the date of the legislation, 1975, this was obvious, but we were seeking the approach recommended by the only New Zealand judge ever to have the wit to enter the House of Lords, Lord Cook of Thorndon, who said that the legislation must be interpreted in a fluid way of the times and always bearing in mind the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights. Our further appeal to the Supreme Court, although initially prepared to hear our case on the grounds that our submissions had been ignored at step 1, later denied our appeals progression. The 30-year struggle with the government to change the laws with regard to medicinal cannabis has now also been dismissed on dubious and outdated evidence in the Select Committee's recent majority decision following the petition of William Rain. I should point out that one of the members of the Select Committee did, however, make a gallant attempt in his minority view to speak the truth and subtly correct the errors of the majority view. Thank you, Kevin Haig. Billy and I have also written that detailed policy submission on behalf of Green Cross regarding the setting out a licensing system for all drugs. And this was in an effort to bring cannabis into the forefront, to use it as a test case. All cannabis use license, I know which a lot of people didn't like, but the point of it would be that it was also to license pharmaceutical products as well, in which case everyone would be recorded for a certain period of time, what drugs they were taking. You would have all the statistics there to work with when if they were hospitalised. Their entire health record would have been recorded, and we could actually get some factual statistics as to what really where the harms and the problems really do lie. But he told me this morning that he's actually sent that policy off to the internet party, and they've accepted it and are thrilled with it. Yeah, so it's good. What?
Is that about it?
No, I have to say sorry.
Okay, be very quick. We really have to be
quick
quick now. We're
okay,
basically over time now. Right.
Can I make an interjection, Rosie?
Yeah.
You know this topic. You don't need to read it off. You can rattle us off everything that really means. Right?
Okay, but I just want to tell you. We haven't got to Saturdays, which is what you want to do.
No. We'll. This can be put out on the internet. We've written it all down. It can all just be done. Just wind up, please.
Okay. Well, I'll take you to the end. I just want to show you that. Can you help me, Jenny? The conclusion I want to point out.
I'll take those away, and you just talk to me.
I have to read out the definition. The controlled drug, the definition of the ultimate madness of our New Zealand laws since 2012 amendment is you have a definition of controlled drug. And controlled drug, under the Misuse of Drugs Act, means any substance, preparation, mixture or article specified or described in Schedule 1. No, this is not ZFX. No? I've got to say the last paragraph.
Well, what are we looking for?
The last one.
That was the last one, so.
Go to find the definition of controlled drug.
Just carry on.
Definition of control.
Anyway, so you've got this definition of controlled drug, which I'll just cut to the chase and say, as a Class B drug, controlled drug is cannabis, and it says tetrahydrocannabinols. This will get you 10 to 14 years in prison if you're caught with tetrahydrocannabinols. It's a dangerous.
That one?
No, it's definition of controlled drug.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Just go.
Vinny, leave it, please. There it is, class controlled drugs. Just gone past it. There it is.
Okay, let's go to the one. So you have cannabis defined as a tetrahydrocannabinol, Class B drug, dangerous, go to prison. And then in the Medicines Act you've got tetrahydrocannabinol, prescription medicine, therapeutic, fine. They're exactly the same word. Yeah. And then you have, under the definition of controlled drug, you've got an exclusion. When it says tetrahydrocannabinol is a controlled drug and you'll go to prison for it, it includes any substance that has a similar structure to tetrahydrocannabinol, but it says it excludes prescription medicines, so therefore it's saying tetrahydrocannabinol is a drug, go to prison. Anything that is a similar chemical structure to tetrahydrocannabinols, go to prison, but that excludes tetrahydrocannabinols. It's absolutely absurd. Brandon.
There being such a fundamental contradiction in two pieces of legislation, what legal avenues are there for challenging that?
Rosie, when I ask questions, we're not recording that, so you need to restate the question, then answer it. Yeah?
Just focus on the question and on the recording. just, is there some kind of injunction
Brandon has asked.
that you could set aside some action against the Misuse of Drugs Act because there's a contradiction in the Medicines Act?
Well,
Is there some, you're a lawyer, is there some avenue that you could
what
take?
you'd have to do, Brandon's asked, what avenue do we take? What recourse is there in the law with such an absurdity existing? And the only thing you could do is A, seek what's called a declaratory judgment, and this is what we're thinking of doing. We're going to the court and asking them, how on earth can you possibly say that a controlled drug is cannabis when you have such an absurdity existing in your law? And they'll have to try and work out in some convoluted form how they can justify this particular definition, because it is absurd. It's completely absurd. They self-contradict, and the point is also that I'm not wanting one of our Green Cross patients to be hauled through the court, but if they were, my next conversation when I bring up a lawyer would be to point this out, because people don't really, unless you're really concentrating and thinking about something to its deepest level, you tend to just analyse things on quite a superficial level, and it's only when you really give it the depth of thought that these contradictions just blow your mind.
This is such a fundamental contradiction. It's obviously a hook into actually
I agree.
Out the misuse of drugs provision pertaining to it.
Certainly as
So
far as
are
cannabis
we going to do something like get some really high-power legal action going on this with good science and get a
Declaratory judgment.
The word you just said.
Yeah.
Judgment on it as a strategy.
I'd like to do that. I'd like to do that.
You should find a Christchurch patient, because there are a lot of people in Christchurch because of the quakes actually already with
Stress disorders.
what do you call it? Well, I'll be using cannabis, medical patients and that, but people are already going to the High Court for declaratory judgments anyway because of their quake insurance, the
Oh, yeah.
of the insurance companies and stuff like that. So tapping on something like that might be relatively easy.
Can I take that? Thanks for those suggestions that we follow this up. I think Rosie said right from the start that this is actually what they want to do. So if people have got ideas about how